safe, and this is really a new experience for all of us. And yesterday I have already uploaded the general instructions, and I expect you all follow those instructions strictly and cooperate to conduct this class smoothly. And as I have pointed out, mentioned in that instructions, you all should join just 5 minutes before the class, so that whenever I'll be taking class, there will be no disturbance. And the most important thing is, I understand you will be having a lot of questions or doubts, queries. But if you start asking all the questions in the class, it is very difficult to manage in this online mode. So just write down your questions, and I'll be giving some scope for asking questions. As well, I have already provided all the email IDs of TAs, and from that table you can see that you belong to a group of TAs. Then you can write email to those TAs, just writing your doubt, queries or feedback, suggestion, whatever it is, and they will pass those emails to me. Okay, so these are the general instructions, and the most important thing is, as you know, there is no mid semester and end semester exams. So basically there will be continuous evaluation, and I'll be uploading some problem sets. So those are for practice. You need to solve those problem sets. And actually there will be some class tests, both MCQ and subjective type, and there will be some surprise quiz. So you should be there in the class. So try to attend all the classes. If you have any medical issues or connectivity problem, anything else, so immediately you write to the TAs, inform that you have some problem. So in those cases, I'll be taking some extra class test for those students who have missed that one. So let us start this subject. This is really an interesting subject, and it is one interdisciplinary subject as well. As you know, this same subject is run by some other departments like aerospace engineering, chemical engineering, mechanical engineering. So basically this control systems engineering, this is a fundamental subject. As an engineer, you all need to learn the system theory, and anywhere you can apply this concept. And basically whenever you have a system without control, actually that system cannot sustain. So basically, as control systems engineer, your job is to analyze that system dynamics as well as to design controller. So from this course, we'll be learning some analysis part, as well as you'll be learning how to design controllers so that the closed loop systems would be performing as you desire. So now the different terminologies that we use in control system, you will be learning those things. So let us start. So that name of that subject is control systems engineering, that is EE 31009, that subject code. And one important thing today, just I have noticed many students have joined as guests. Basically, your email IDs are not available in ERP, so that's why I could not add you to that team. So I would ask you to send one email just from your institute email ID, because if I add you, so your ID is created corresponding to your institute email ID. Your Gmail ID would not be considered. So please send your email ID so that I can add you, and from tomorrow onwards you will be joining to this class as a team member. So the name of the subject is Control Systems Engineering, and two teachers will be taking this class, myself Saurabh Patro, So please mute your microphone. And another professor, Professor Arun Ghosh. Professor Arun Ghosh, AG. So both of us will be taking this class, and I will be covering mostly the analysis, and Professor Ghosh will be covering design part. So there are some, I think that a detailed syllabus already I have uploaded. You can see it, and also that breakup is given, which topics will be covered by me and which topics will be covered by Professor Ghosh. So there are some reference books that I will be following. That reference books. So 4 reference books I'll be following, and I think Professor Ghosh will be giving some other reference books. So one is that K. Ogata. These all are very standard reference book, that is modern control engineering. This is Parentis Sol of India, PHI. And then R.C. Dorff. And R.H. Bishop. That is modern control systems. Pearson. Then the third book that we'll be following, that is B.C. Kuo, Automatic Control. This is PHI. The fourth one is Norman Nice, Control Systems Engineering. This is Wiley. So these are the 4 books I'll be following, and those books are, I think some soft copies are also available, and you can also buy some books. So the control systems engineering actually deals with dynamical systems. So now let us see what is dynamical systems. As the prerequisite for this course is signals and systems, so I am not going into detail of systems here. What is the definition of systems and the different types of systems? I am just going to give you some ideas and some definitions of some various types of systems that we'll be dealing with in this particular course. So first of all, what is dynamical systems? A system is said to be dynamical or dynamical system if its behavior changes over time, often in response to external stimulation, which is actually that external input, external stimulation or forcing function. So in signal systems, already you have learned that different types of stimulation or forcing function, standard forcing function like step input, ramp input, uh, then parabolic input, so sinusoidal input. So different types of inputs, if you apply to that system, actually the dynamical systems behavior changes over time. So for example, you can see here, say one example, that suppose you have a system, just simple gain K. So now if you apply some input to that system, suppose that input is step input. So this is time T, and here the input you have applied, that ut. So then what happens? The output that you will be having, that is just multiplied with, if it is unit step, so basically that output that we will be having, that is T, so that is yt, that is K. So from here you can see that this system is not a dynamical system, because whenever time changes, you can see that output remains constant. So this particular system is called that static system. So this is called static system. So then what would be the dynamical system? So dynamical system, if you just apply that input, say suppose you have a system here, then if you apply input here, and that input, suppose you have given, this is T, this is ut, and this is that suppose unit step you have given, and you are just observing what is that output. So you know that suppose if it is a second order type of system, so then its response looks like this. So that means whenever time grows, then you can see that the response is varying. So this is actually the dynamic systems. So there are two types of systems, so that means static and dynamics, and in this course basically we will be dealing with the dynamic systems. And you can also see that means in our surroundings there are two categories of systems. So two types of systems, two types of systems we can see in our surroundings. What are those? One type of system is called that engineered systems. Engineered systems. So what are engineered systems? So that means that we make. The engineered systems is basically we design, that we make. And the other types of system is that natural systems. So natural systems means you can see that biological systems, then climate, etc. So in this course, we will be just dealing with these engineered systems, and in the modeling part, Again, we'll be just considering some engineered systems, and we'll see how to get the input output behavior, or how to write the mathematical equations to describe the dynamics of that systems. So basically what I want to say, in this particular course, we will be concentrating on engineered systems. That means that we can make. So for how to make, how to design, so that part will be covered by Professor Ghosh. So let us see, that means how we can represent a dynamical systems. So a dynamical systems, so this is the dynamical systems, which is represented by a block. This is dynamic system. In control, this is also called or plant. Now it has input, which is called that control input. Now it has output, which is called, this is actually outputs to be controlled. So in control systems, whenever we'll be dealing with on dynamical systems, so your objective is to control the outputs. How? So just by designing that suitable control input. And in a dynamical systems, which are actually inevitable, that is the disturbances and noises. So that means here there are some external signals that enter, or there are some process noise, process disturbance as well. So these signals are called the disturbances that enter that system, and basically these disturbances create problem to that systems, and your job is to design a suitable control input so that outputs will follow the desired shape, or it satisfies your requirement in presence of disturbance and noise. That is actually that objective. And you need some other signals, that is called that measurements. So later we will see what we can do using this measurement. So basically in dynamical systems there are 4 signals. So one is that input, control input, one is that control input, and another signals are called that output that need to be controlled. Then these are all disturbances which are entering that systems. You do not have any control over there. And some signals that you measure using some sensors, and later on you will see we will be using those signals, measured signals, to close that loop. So basically for getting a closed loop control we need these signals. That thing we will see later. So now let us see what are the different types of systems that we'll see in this particular course, and also we can see in the surroundings the types of dynamical systems. So I think you have already learned those things in signals and systems, signals and networks. So with respect to, we can just categorize the dynamical systems from different perspectives. So here, with respect to the method of analysis and design, with respect to the method of analysis and design, we can divide that systems in 2 categories. One is that linear systems, and another one is non-linear systems. I hope you all know how to test whether a system is linear or not. So in case of linear systems, it follows the principle of superposition and the homogeneity principle. And here again, these linear and nonlinear systems can be categorized in two different classes. One is that time invariant and time varying. So these are the two categories, linear and nonlinear systems, and they are categorized with respect to the method of analysis and design. Then the other category, that is with respect to the types of signal used, with respect to the types of signal used. One is continuous time systems, and another one is discrete time systems. So these are the different categories, the different types of systems that we have in our surroundings, and we can categorize them with respect to different aspects. One is that linear and nonlinear with respect to the method of analysis and design, and others are the continuous time and discrete time. I think you all know those things. You have learned it in signals and systems. So few examples we can see. Few examples. Say x dot, this is a dynamical systems, it has some memory, x dot equal to axt. So now x dot equal to axt square. Now x dot t equal to sine t xt. Now x dot t equal to sine t into x squared t. Here I have taken some simple examples for better understanding, and you can take some other examples, and I think already you have done those things in signals and networks. These are just for recapitulation, and you can take it as preliminaries. So the first system, so this first system is the linear time invariant systems. So this is linear time invariant systems. So those who forget those definitions, I suggest you to see your Signet book. And here you can see because of the square terms. So this is nonlinear time invariant systems. Now here you can see the coefficient is actually function of time, sine t. So it is actually, it depends explicitly on that time function. So this is linear time varying systems. So this is linear time varying systems, and here this is nonlinear, as square term is there, as well as sine t. So nonlinear time varying systems. Now this system again, so all those 5 systems are continuous time systems. And this is discrete time systems. So these are some simple definitions, and you can have a lot of examples in Signet's books, and I think in your second year already you have learned it. So in this particular course, we'll be dealing these type of systems, and here the linear time varying systems is not included in your syllabus because its analysis and design is a bit difficult. So basically we'll be concentrating on linear time invariant systems, non-linear time invariant systems, continuous time systems, and discrete time systems. So basically these time varying systems are not included in your syllabus, its analysis and design, because its analysis and design a bit difficult. So as this course is a fundamental and first course that you are learning on control systems, that's why those theories, complicated theories, are not included. So now we are going to discuss one important concept, what is called that feedback. So control is actually exercised by feedback.
Sir, you are mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Sir, you are muted again.
Control, so basically we are just going to discuss the feedback, which is one important concept of control systems engineering. And here you can see what I have pointed out, that control is exercised by feedback. And the control design problem is to determine the characteristics of the controller so that the controlled outputs can be uh, set to prescribed values called references, and it can maintain the output despite the unknown disturbances. And so these are actually some objectives. So let me point out those things. That is the control design. The control design problem is to determine the characteristics of the controller so that the controlled outputs, we have already seen that controlled outputs can be, so there are various objectives. One objective is can be set to prescribed values called references. The second objective is maintain at the reference values, because these reference values are set by you, the designer or that user, and your job is to design a controller so that the output will be maintained at the reference value despite the unknown disturbances. And the third one is above 2. That means these two above 2 are made despite the inherent uncertainties and changes in the plant dynamics. So try to understand these three objectives. This is actually the main objective of control systems. So control is exercised by feedback. That thing we'll be discussing in detail later, this one. Now, the control design problem is to determine. So these three are actually the different objectives. One is you set the reference value. Suppose I want that output will be at the value 5. So as an user, you will be setting that value 5, and the control system is to be designed such that the output will track that reference value at 5. Now the point is, in physical systems, there are a lot of changes, there are a lot of unexpected things may happen. So one thing is the disturbance and noise may enter, which are actually inevitable. So they are there. So you need to design a controller so that even if there are some disturbances, the output should be at the value 5. 5 means you have set that value at 5. Whatever value you will be setting, that is called that reference value. And another important aspect is the uncertainties. Uncertainties means whenever you have designed a controller, you have considered all the nominal situations. You have assumed that all the parameters are known and there are no changes, no environmental changes, nothing is going to be happen. But practically it is not like this. Practically everything are changing continuously, and the value that you have considered to design a controller, that value may not be that exact one. Even if you get it an exact value, what happens whenever that system runs, that value may change because of that environmental conditions, aging, etc. So lot of uncertainties will be introduced in that system. So as a control systems engineer, so basically you need to design a controller so that the output should be maintained at reference value even if there is some disturbances or uncertainties. So basically this concept is called that robustness. This is called that robustness property. That means if the design system can ensure the output response in presence of disturbance and uncertainty, then the robustness is ensured. So in this particular course, at end of this course, we'll be taking some lectures on robustness. This is very interesting as well as important from a physical point of view, as you know, the uncertainties and disturbances are everywhere. So now let us see how the feedback can be implemented. So here we have shown the dynamical systems which has 4 different signals. So one signal is that control input, then the disturbance, then the outputs to be controlled and measurement. So basically the controller So as a control systems engineer, you will be designing a controller taking the information of the systems. So please mute your mic because I am getting feedback. So this is actually the concept of feedback. So here, this is the dynamical systems, and we are taking some information of the dynamical systems, and then we set a reference command here. So this is that reference command. So this is that reference command, and then we feed this signal to the dynamical systems. So basically what we do in control systems engineering, the dynamical system or plant we have. So now our objective is to control the output. So how it will be controlled? Because we have set some reference input here. So for example, say 5, and we expect that the output should be at 5. So now how to do that? We take some information of the dynamical systems that we will be learning in this course and then design a controller. So this controller is nothing but a law, an algorithm that generates a signal which is fed to the dynamical system such that this output signal will be same as the reference input. So this is actually the objective of this course, and here you will be learning many terminologies that we will be using, one thing. The second thing is how to design this controller and what information we will be taking, and if there is some disturbance, what are the effects of disturbance or that output. Overall, you need to ensure that whenever you will be closing this loop, this whole thing should be stable. So in this course, we will be discussing the definition of stability, because there are various notions of stability, and we will be learning how to design controller. We will be learning how to take the measurements, feedback. This is actually that feedback. So this part is feedback part. And whenever there is some disturbance or noise, how to maintain the output at reference value, that thing we will be learning. So this is basically the general block diagram of closed loop control systems. So we'll be discussing in detail later. That means there are important components involved in a closed loop. So one is that dynamical systems. Second one is that controller. Then there would be some feedback path. And whenever you are getting that measurement, so basically you are using some sensors here, and that control input to be fed to the dynamic systems through some component which are called actuators. So those things we will be discussing later. So now let us see. That means this is actually very important aspect of this course, that why should we learn this course? That means as it is in your curriculum, you may say that as it is in our curriculum, so somehow we have to take this course, so that's why we are taking it. But my answer is no. The reason is, first of all, as I have pointed out, it is one interdisciplinary course. You can apply the system theory concept as well as control systems concept anywhere. So in computing, in aerospace, in economics, everywhere, biological systems, everywhere you can apply these concepts, system theory concept, as well as if you would like to design a closed loop control system, so you can design a controller. So it has actually wide applicability. So let us see what is actual the scenario at present situation. So basically it gives you the motivation for learning this particular course. So the present scenario. So as you all are third year students, I think you all have a lot of informations regarding that technology developments and what are going on around us. So I think you have noticed at present situation, there are some critical societal challenges. So those critical challenges are, say, some critical So critical societal challenges. What are the critical societal challenges at present we have? So one is that transportation. Second one is energy. Third one is water, healthcare, and the last one is manufacturing. So these are actually that 5 verticals. At present, we are actually concentrating on, and based on those challenges, we have identified there are some key research and key research problems. So those research problems are here. So basically, in order to solve the issues involved in those verticals, that transportation, energy, water, healthcare, and manufacturing, the control systems engineer, they need to develop different efficient control algorithms as well as control systems. So those are namely the distributed network control systems, so this is very important because now you can see, due to the huge development in communication and internet, so we can control various systems connected via some network. So they are not in centralized fashion. So they are basically placed in distributed fashion, and your job as one control systems engineer to design a control system so that many systems interconnected via some network to be controlled. So basically we need to develop distributed network control systems. So that is actually one of the important research problems. The second one is data-driven dynamic modeling and control. So this is that another objective. And people from different research groups and around the world, so they are working in those topics. The second one is the data-driven dynamic modeling and control. And day by day, the system is becoming complex. So we need to develop some theory to deal with complexity and control. The fourth one is the critical infrastructure systems. Then very important and very catchy area, that is that cyber physical systems. I think many of you are familiar with this particular term, that cyber physical systems, because nowadays you cannot control systems just by using some centralized algorithm. As I have pointed out, as the systems are placed in distributed fashion, so basically you need to make a coordination between the physical systems and that cyber world, and you need to correlate the computing, control and communication all together. So basically that cyber physical systems deals with this particular thing. And then that autonomy, cognition and control. So why I'm telling those things, the reason is, as I have pointed out, you may think that what is the motivation for learning this particular subject. So this particular subject is designed to give you basically the fundamental concepts of control systems. And at present scenario, as I have shown here, there are 5 verticals. So people are actually giving a lot of emphasis, and a lot of innovative works, research works are going on in those 5 verticals. And if you consider that control systems, so these are the 6 areas people have identified, and the expert committee, they think that by 2030, we need to develop so those areas just by designing and innovating some powerful and efficient control algorithms to handle these particular topics. So this is actually that present scenario, and I hope some of you may find it interesting, and if you would like to do some your project works, research works, so then you can explore your future along those directions. So these are the ideas, the present scenarios, and what you can do in future. So now let us see what is feedback. As I have pointed out, the control is actually exercised by feedback. So this is very important concept of control systems, that is, what is feedback. So feedback is, the term refers to a situation in which 2 or more dynamical systems are connected together such that each system influences the other and their dynamics are thus strongly coupled. So let us see what is that. So the term feedback refers to a situation in which two or more dynamical systems are connected together such that each system influences the other and their dynamics are thus strongly coupled. So these things would be clear if we just draw two simple systems. Say one here, say system 1. So this is system 1 and this is system 2. So now the output of system 1 is affecting system 2, and the output of system 2, if it affects system 1, so then we can see that there, you can see here, the systems are connected together, such that each system influences the other. So that means here system 1 is influencing system 2 as well as system 2 is influencing system 1. So this particular thing is called closed loop. This is that feedback system. And if they are not coupled like this, then how it looks like? So that means if you have system 1 here and if you have system 2 here, say system 1 and system 2, so system 1 is affecting system 2, and here system 2 cannot influence system 1. So this particular structure is called open loop. So this is non-feedback system. So now what we have seen, that means what is that feedback? So the feedback is a term that refers to a situation in which two dynamical systems are connected together such that each system influences the other. And here we have seen the two different structures, that is that closed loop structure and the open loop structure. So today what we have discussed, we have started with the dynamical systems, and we have seen the difference with the dynamical systems and the static system. Then we have seen the different categories of systems. So basically in surroundings we have that engineered systems and natural system. And here we have discussed in brief how a closed loop is formed. Then we have seen the different types of systems, that is linear system, non-linear system, continuous time, discrete time systems, as well as time varying and time invariant systems. And we have seen a few examples from different classes of systems. And then here the motivations for learning this particular course, what is the present scenario, and 5 different verticals where we need to give emphasis. The experts are actually have identified some topics where we need to do some works, target 2030. So we can explore our ideas of and concepts and knowledge of control systems along those directions. And if somebody wants to do your research works, project works, you can also do. So this is one of the motivations. And then here we have seen what is feedback and the 2 different types of structures, that is closed loop and open loop structure. So we can stop it here today. And do you have any questions? Yes, please, you may ask, unmute your mic and just ask some question.
Sir, can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Yeah, in the examples that you gave, where x dot t was equal to sine t into xt, you
Yes.
said it was time variant, which is correct, and you said it was linear also. But if sine t is there,
Yes.
so how will it be linear? Like x dot t is basically yt, right? So y for superposition y1 t, if the inputs are x1 and x2, and the respective outputs are y1 and y2.
Yes.
Then if you input x1 plus x2, it should be y1 plus y2. That's the condition, right?
Yes. So first of all, you just take the model, input output model. Okay. So here that sine t is actually your coefficient. Sine t is your coefficient, which is varying with time. And here this is called that state representation. I hope you know it. You have learned it in your Signet course. And if you take it as input and output, say suppose input is ut and output is yt, then you will see that the superposition does not hold. Okay, superposition holds in this case. The reason is the input and output, so the time varying that you have taken, it is actually involved in the coefficient. It is not in that input. It is not the square of that input. So that's why it is a time varying linear system. Okay.
All right.
We can see it later on detail, or you can just see some Signet book and take some examples. These are very standard things. Yeah. Any other questions?
Then the coefficient didn't matter, right? It could have been even exponential.
Yeah. So that thing, I think it would be very much clear. That means I am just using the term coefficient. The reason is whenever you'll be learning the state space representation, then you will be seeing that it is basically system matrix. So that thing we'll be discussing later on. Okay. So I think it would be clear. After a few classes, it would be clear. Okay.
Sure.
Yes, Gaurang Kaushik Mahata.
Sir, someone is continuously removing many of us from the meeting. Can you please change the settings so that no one can do it?
What happens?
So someone is continuously removing us from the meetings.
Oh.
In between.
Okay.
So can you please change the settings?
Okay, I'll be doing it because you see, just for this week, tomorrow and day after tomorrow, I want to see that means what are the problems we are facing in online mode. And at present, all TAs are, added as owner. So from next week onwards, I'll be only owner. I think in that case, so those problems may be sorted out. I'll see it. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And tomorrow again, I'll be sending you another link for tomorrow's meeting. And from next week onwards, so basically those who are added as team member, only they can join this class. So I am requesting all of you, those who are not added yet, so send your institute email ID so that I can add you. And I'll be just creating one link and basically
Sir, you are muted.
I don't know why it is happening. Okay, so is there any other questions?
Sir, are you able to hear me?
Yes, I can hear. Yes, please.
Sir, actually, do the dynamical system also reach a steady state, right?
The steady state?
The dynamical systems reach a steady state after which the output remains almost equal to the reference value, if we say that way.
If the system is stable.
Yeah,
Okay.
if the system is stable.
Yes.
So, to differentiate dynamical and static systems, we need to look at its transient behavior.
Transient effects, true, because the transient things are coming because of that memory. Yes, true.
So the only thing which differentiates a static and a dynamical system is the transient effect which we see in the dynamical system.
True. The reason you can see it from others' perspective, whenever you have a constant gain and whenever it has some dynamics. So dynamics means, some sort of initial conditions are involved. So if you'd like to model it, you need some differential equation. In case of static systems, you need not. You can just write one algebraic equation and you can do it. Okay, so whenever some differential equation comes into picture, you need to provide some initial conditions, etc. So where that means the dynamics is involved. That is the difference. Yes.
Thank you, sir.
So if you have more questions, so please, yes, Himadri Shaha.
Sir, related to what Ganeshwaran has said, so can we say that we can differentiate the static and dynamic system on the basis of its transfer function? I mean, the transfer function is dependent on time or
Yes. You see the transfer function or state space representation, etc.